By the way, we got Joe Lonsdale on CNBC right now talking about Palantir. Let's transition to that and see what he's got to say. And then we'll keep going through some of the other headlines that we have.
Now on this and so much more, Joe Lonsdale, 8VC managing partner and a Palantir co-founder. Joe, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thanks, Morgan.
So I am going to start right there because Palantir certainly seems to be, and we saw this in earnings on Monday, providing in real time the use case for how AI is changing business structures as well as the battlefield. And I just do want to get your thoughts on where we are in this cycle of AI investing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Palantir, it turns out, solves some really hard problems that are really valuable for AI, right? It turns out that right now it's the big theme for a lot of things we're doing in every industry. And if you actually organize the data and organize workflows into ontologies, you could then extrapolate on top of that. And this Palantir is, I think, surprising all of us just how fast it's growing, how much value it's creating. It's actually kind of fun. Some of our early teams I used to know there from 15 years ago, they celebrate every time it goes up 1 point with a drink with each other. They've had a tough couple of weeks. It's gone way up.
I mean, and Palantir, and I would also argue SpaceX have really forged the way for this idea of disruption in defense. And now you're seeing it increasingly with other names in the startup ecosystem, including Anduril Industries, which I just reported before the break, is raising another funding round to the tune of $2.5 billion, which would double its value.
Oh, wow. Did you guys hear that? Anduril's raising a round? 2.5 billion? Huh. Okay, we'll keep listening to this. Let me get some updates on that. But that means they would be worth close to 35 billion.
Valuation. Want to get your thoughts on that?
Listen, I mean, Palantir and SpaceX led the way for the new wave of defense and DoD companies. Anduril is the fastest growing thing we've ever seen now in the space. Anduril was founded by 3 guys who were stars of Palantir alongside Palmer Luckey. So there's a lot of Palantir DNA in that company. I've been invested in every round since the very beginning. This is the fastest growing thing we've seen. They're not giving out numbers, so I don't want to get in trouble saying it, but it's amazing how well they're doing. It's amazing how well they're running circles around a lot of the legacy defense primes by providing solutions to the government that are much, much cheaper and much, much better. And, thanks, I think, to a lot of the shifts you've seen in the last 20 years that really Palantir and SpaceX kicked off, we are seeing a lot more fair competitions where the DoD is saying, what's the best solution here? Rather than running this just for an old prime to automatically get it, let's let people compete. And you're seeing Anduril lead the way with a bunch of other new ones coming up like Epirus and Saronic as well that are starting to really break in and build some great companies. I think Anduril is going to be one of the biggest defense companies in the world. And it's $28 billion pre, I guess, it leaked out that it's happening right here. We're investing again. I think it's going to be a lot bigger still.
How do you think companies like this are poised to perhaps drive more business from this administration at a time where Doge is going in and Elon Musk is going in and sort of taking that Silicon Valley ethos of moving fast and breaking things?
Well, listen, I'm, as you know, a huge fan of Doge. I have a lot of friends involved in Doge and have been doing my best to help them. There's so much waste in government. There's so much to cut. Companies like Palantir and Anduril actually do better when you cut the waste, because what happens is that if you are forced to use your money more efficiently, if you are forced to say, we're going to have to do this twice as efficiently, 10 times as efficiently, that's when Palantir and Anduril win. Like, you literally have things they're deploying that are a tenth the cost that are better. And so if in this new administration, by the way, Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of Defense, he was very clear. He wants to have competition. He wants the best ideas. So when he wants I don't think he's not going to favor new things versus legacy companies. He's going to favor whatever the best solution is. And that means companies like Anduril and like Palantir are going to keep growing really fast. It means you're going to cut a lot of other nonsense that's really crony and shouldn't be there.
You published what I'll call a manifesto a little less than 2 weeks ago about some of the reforms that could take place in the Pentagon. Is this a key moment, whether it's the Pentagon, whether it's Medicaid and Medicare, since I know you also invest in healthcare? When you look across some of these big spenders within government, is this a moment where real change can actually happen? And if so, what is it going to take to get there, especially given the fact that there's a lot of politicization right now? You're already seeing the lawsuits come out as changes are being enacted very quickly. What does it take to get there?
Morgan, I was in D.C. briefly this week and meeting with a lot of senators as well as our friends in the White House, meeting with a lot of staffers on the Hill who are trying to work on this. And this bipartisan staffers agree, like, the DoD, the way procurement works right now is broken. It's not getting the best answers. It's a bureaucratic mess. I mean, the famous Colt 1911, before World War I, we needed better pistols in the jungles in the Philippines, as we wrote about. And rather than give 300 pages of specifications, they said, here's what we need, common sense. Now let's test out. 6 companies applied. They had contests. They chose the most reliable gun. It took a few months. It was very fast. It was very efficient, and they bought tons of them. We tried to do a new pistol over 10 years ago. We had several hundred pages of nonsense of bureaucrats trying to overdefine things rather than saying what the outcome they wanted was. I think we still haven't gotten a good pistol out of it. The whole thing's a giant mess. You don't need hordes, like we call it, we're the arsenal. We should be the arsenal of democracy, not the arsenal of bureaucracy. And I think everyone knows this, and we have to be bold at getting to where we need to be and rewarding people who win the competitions and driving solutions based on outcomes, not based on top-down specifications.
Joe Lonsdale, great to have you on. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
So that's Palantir co-founder Lonsdale basically explaining that we are heading into a essentially golden 4 years for defense, and Anduril and Palantir are going to be big beneficiaries of it. Now, in terms of the new Anduril funding round, I can't find any coverage that they're raising another $2.5 billion. I guess CNBC reported that, so it's their reporting, but I don't see any external sources saying that that's a thing. If that's the case, their previous valuation was $15 billion. That means they'd be worth $30 billion, which means they're probably looking at like a 45 minimum billion IPO, or at least 40 billion IPO when they go public. So I would imagine they go public by latest mid 2026. I mean, probably end of 2025 is not out of the question given how fast they're growing. And also you need liquidity to go public, and there's tons of liquidity right now in the system. But that's going to be a big IPO, and you're going to get a lot of people that get excited for something like an Anduril as well. Okay, cool. So that's what we got from Lonsdale here right now. PayPal is down about 1.6%. Airbnb is up 1.82. Robinhood 55.86 ended up 5.06% of the day. Nvidia 129, and then Palantir is at 110.85. Gave up most of its gains throughout the day. Currently right here down about 0.39%. Cool stuff. Cool stuff throughout the week, dude. It's been a hell of a week. It has been a crazy week. I mean, when are you going to cover Nebis? So I started actually looking into them yesterday. I've not really done any serious due diligence, but I at least learned kind of like what the point of the company is and why they're so crucial in the semiconductor space. Hopefully over the coming weeks, I can do some more due diligence on them. I don't think I'm going to take a position just because I don't know. I don't feel like concentrating into a position like that, but learning more about them, trying to get a better understanding of them. And, there's not that many analysts on the street talking about it either. It's like 2 or 3 analysts really that cover the stock. So it's getting more attention. It was up 10% today. I don't know why it was up 10%, but it was up 10%. But it does look like people are seeing this as a more undervalued semiconductor play that can benefit from NVIDIA. What do you think about DraftKings? I like DraftKings and their growth. I don't have a position in them. DKNG 42.28. The stock's been kind of flat though over the past year. They had some harsh regulations in Illinois that affected them from a gambling perspective. It's up 16% year to date. Over the past 1 year, it's literally flat, down 0.75%. I don't know. I like them. I think they're cool. They grow fast. I think they are now officially profitable or very close to profitable. But it's not something super exciting in terms of like a long-term vision, for like what the company could be outside of just more people gamble. So it's never been something that I get super excited to get into. Illinois, because the S is silent. Of course I said the S. Of course. Of course. If anyone was going to say Illinois wrong, if anyone was going to say it wrong, it's me. It would be me. Of course. So it's Illinois. Not Illinois. Dude, that was such a rookie mistake. Like, I could have at least got that right. I could have at least not said Illinois. I could have not said that. But why? But then I wouldn't be me. Of course, I wouldn't be me. Amit, would you buy Anduril? Probably. I mean, again, it would. I don't know what the valuation would look like. I think I would buy just on the growth because from my understanding, they're growing faster than Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, all of them combined. I mean, like they're just like they're killing everybody when it comes to the rate of contracts they're getting. I've always been skeptical about Anduril's ability to have a commercial business, which makes me think you're literally just buying a defense contractor. That's not a bad thing, but it would be nice to have a little bit of a commercial element to the business. Overall, I think I would buy it, yeah, because Palmer Luckey's a rock star. They're not slowing down. And if it is going to be the next 4 years where defense spending goes up, in particular for companies that can actually get shit done, because Elon's there. And speaking of Elon, here's the cover of Time magazine that I literally just see as I open up Twitter. There you go. Time magazine puts him basically in the Oval Office. But if the government's spending, I think a lot of that money is going to go to Anduril and Palantir. And if they're going to be winning contracts, then even if you buy them purely for the defense business, not just the commercial business, there's definitely a moat I think you could use to justify buying Anduril. Wow, what a cover, huh? What a freaking cover from Time magazine.